Hi everyone, I hope you are doing well today. Welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, welcome. I'm Hoàng Nguyen, your coding expert, and this is the place where you can learn from real-world coding experience. Whether you are looking to pass a coding exam to kickstart your career, or you are already certified and want to advance in the field, you are in the right place. As you may already know, AIPC is transitioning from in-person exam to fully online testing. To experience this change firsthand before sharing tips and strategies with you, I took the CCVTC Certified Cardiovascular and Thoracic Surgery Coder exam at a testing center. I passed on my first try, finishing in 3 hours and 10 minutes, well under the 4-hour limit. In today's video, I walk you through the techniques and strategy I use to pass so you can confidently approach and succeed in your own exam. Before I start, I want to mention that all the videos on my channel are still relevant today when it comes to coding guidelines, anatomy and physiology, reading and dissecting of reports, and tips and strategy for passing the CPC, COC, or other coding exams. This video just adds a slightly different approach to help you tackle the new online exam format. Alright, without further ado, let's get started. There are two ways to take the CPC exam now, either through a live remote proctor exam at home or at a testing center. Here are the things you need to know so you can choose the setting that is suitable for you. First, for the live remote proctor exam, you can take it at home with a live proctor monitoring you. You must have a working computer, either a laptop or desktop. I prefer a desktop computer simply because it runs faster and has a bigger screen, allowing you to view the test better. You also need a high-speed internet connection to ensure the test loads quickly without any delays or lagging. If you can watch YouTube videos without any lag, then I believe your internet speed is sufficient for the exam. For monitoring purposes, you need to have an external webcam with at least 6 foot core so the proctor can check your surrounding for exam integrity. In addition, you will need a microphone and speakers to communicate with the live proctor. Second, taking your exam at a testing center, which I did for my recent CCVTC exam, offers a focused environment with an on-site proctor monitoring your progress. You can easily schedule your exam during the center business hour, ensuring minimal distraction from family and pets in a controlled setting. The testing center provides all necessary equipment, so you won't need to worry about having a working computer with high-speed internet and an external webcam. In addition, if you encounter any technical difficulties, you will have an on-site technician who can fix the issue or set you up at another computer. The best part is that with hundreds of testing centers available across 110 countries, you have plenty of options to find a convenient location that suits your need. These are just a few differences between the two settings. For complete details on each setting requirements, I recommend visiting the AIPC website for more information. The CPC online exam features a split screen format with the optional display on the right side and multiple choice questions on the left. However, a notable limitation is that you are not allowed to bring any personal note-taking tools such as pencil, pens, highlighters, or scratch paper, which can pose a challenge for visual learners who prefer to take handwritten notes. To accommodate this need, AIPC provides a digital notepad on the screen, allowing you to type your notes during the exam. This feature is designed to help you effectively organize your thoughts and reference key information while navigating the exam. The notepad feature works like a floating note, allowing you to move it around the screen as needed. The multiple choice question may be presented either in groups of code. For example, in this case, A, B, C, and D each have 5 code listed. Or it is being split into sections, asking first for the primary IC10CM code, with A, B, C, and D is listing one code, and the next question will ask for the secondary listed ICN-CM code. Either way, if you have been watching my videos and following my tips and strategy, you should already be familiar with my reverse analysis approach, analyzing the question first before reading the op report or medical record. Why it is important? First, you have only 4 hours to complete 100 multiple choice questions, giving you approximately 2.4 minutes per question. If you spend that time reading the op report first, you may already exceed the 2.4 minute limit, which is not an effective strategy. Second, if you are not a coder, I have not coded op reports before, you may struggle to identify the procedure the surgeon is performing due to a lack of knowledge in surgeries and procedure. Understanding this challenge, I developed the backward approach or reverse analysis to help overcome it. This technique will help you navigate the exam more efficiently and confidently. Now let's go back to our case. I will show you how to tackle it using my backward approach or reverse analysis. This time, however, you won't have anything to write or highlight the codes in your book like I usually recommend. Instead, I want you to click on the Notepad tab and open this tool. If you are practicing coding this case on your desktop or laptop running Windows, simply type Notepad into the search bar and it should open automatically. Now, if you are familiar with my strategy, your first focus should be to analyze the first group of code. In this case, A, B, C, and D all have different codes, so you should type them into the notepad in numerical order as they appear. I'll say it again. You should type them into the notepad in numerical order as they appear. Simply because it will help you look up these codes in your coding book quicker and in order by page. Additionally, some codes are indented, so this method ensures you include the description of the code above when necessary. Keep in mind, they may not align exactly with the A, B, C, D order from the question. Now, you can see in the question that MA4551A is listed above MA4451A. But in the notepad, I have arranged them in numerical order with MA4451A appearing above MA4551A. Now, your next task is to open your IC10CM book and look up this code. However, before you start, remember my tips and strategy. The S code is for injury, so to save time, you don't need to look it up. If this case is related to an injury, then D must be the correct answer. It's as simple as that. I will pause the video, so please open your IC10CM book and do this now. Assuming you have already opened the IC10 book, look up the codes in the top of the list, and here's what you find. Then type it into the notepad. Now, I want you to pay attention to this. When you look up codes in the IC10 book and type them into the notepad, you don't have to type out the full description of each code. Instead, focus on just the keywords, and you should make it short as long as you understand what it means. Don't worry about spelling. The main point I want to stress is to concentrate on the keywords. Now, you can see I don't care about misspelling as long as I understand the difference between each code. That is all that matters before I start reading the medical record or operative report. I hope that after this step, you can identify the difference between each code. A stress fracture is a small crack in the bone, usually caused by repetitive force or overuse. A pathological fracture is a break in the bone caused by an underlying disease, although it doesn't specify what that disease is. And a pathological fracture in neoplastic disease refers to a fracture caused by underlying cancer. Knowing the difference, now is the right time for you to read the medical record or the op report. Mr. Smith is an 80-year-old resident of Restview Nursing Home, presenting with complaints of pain in his right hip. An X-ray confirms a pathological fracture at the base of the neck of the femur, secondary to adenocarcinoma of the bone. Now, I can stop here because after identifying the difference between each diagnosis code in the notepad, this information is enough for me to determine the correct code to report. Based on what I just read, the fracture is caused by secondary bone cancer. According to IC10 official coding guidelines, when an encounter is for a pathological fracture due to a neoplasm and the focus of treatment is the fracture, the code for the pathological fracture should be sequenced first, followed by the code for the neoplasm. Having said that, the first code listed must be MA45518. Going back to our case, B is the only answer that had MA45518 listed first, so it must be the correct answer. Therefore, the correct answer to this case is B. What you have learned is that, to this case, you have gained valuable techniques that can streamline your testing process. First, by analyzing the question beforehand, you can identify the primary focus which will guide you as you read the op report or medical record. This approach helps you focus on the relevant details without getting lost in unnecessary information. Second, you don't need to read the entire record. Once you identify the key points that correspond with the code, you can stop right there. This not only saves you time, but also ensures that you are concentrating on the most pertinent information needed for accurately coding the case. I hope that makes sense. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching and for liking and sharing this video. If you found the content helpful, informative, and easy to learn from, or if you have any suggestion for future topics, please leave me a comment below. I would love to hear your feedback. I truly appreciate your support. Don't forget to keep an eye out for my new video series on how to pass the CPC, COC, and other coding exam in 2025, with a special focus on the online exam format. Until then, have a great day.